Let's be honest, we are drowning in data. I mean, every single click, every sale, every interaction, it's all generating tons of information. But on its own, raw data is pretty much just noise. The real magic, the thing that separates guessing from actually knowing, is turning all that chaos into real clarity. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to architect that process pillar by pillar.
So that's the big question, right? How do you take a giant wall of numbers and turn it into a compelling story that actually helps you make smart decisions? Well, this is the exact problem Microsoft Power BI was designed to solve. To really get a grip on Power BI, it all boils down to just two things: its core building blocks. Seriously, everything you do, from the moment you touch your raw data to that final, beautiful dashboard, it all depends on how these two parts work together.
Okay, first up is the semantic model. Now, the best way to think of this is like the architectural blueprint for your data. It's the invisible foundation, right? It's where you connect all your different data sources, you clean everything up, and you teach it how different pieces of information relate to each other. If you get this part right, your entire analysis is built on solid ground.
And the second block? That's the visualization, or as we usually call it, a visual. So if the model is the foundation, then the visuals are the actual house you build on top. They're the charts, the graphs, the maps, all the things you can actually see and interact with. This is how that invisible blueprint becomes a real, visible story that you can understand.
So let's double-click on that foundation first. How do you actually build one of these semantic models? Well, it's a pretty straightforward four-step process. Building this model is it's a logical flow. You start by connecting to your data, and it doesn't matter where it lives. Then you clean it up. You use tools like the Power Query Editor to fix any errors and get it into the right shape for analysis. After that, you create relationships between your tables. So you're basically teaching Power BI how your sales data talks to your customer data. And finally, you calculate new metrics like year-over-year growth to make your model even richer. And once that solid foundation is in place, well, the hard work, the groundwork, is done. Now you're ready to start building. It's time to create your report. So we're moving from that behind-the-scenes foundation to what I like to call the main event, the interactive report. And this isn't just some static, boring document. Oh no, this is a dynamic canvas where your data really, truly comes to life. So a report is basically a multi-page canvas where you do your analysis. You build it on your computer in the Power BI desktop app, and it's all drag and drop. Super simple. You don't have to write any code. And its whole purpose, its reason for being, is to let you go deep and explore every single angle of your data.
But here's the real superpower of a Power BI report: interactivity. When you click on one part of a visual, like, say, a state on a map, everything else on the page instantly filters to show you data just for that state. A static page suddenly isn't static anymore. It becomes this amazing tool for discovery. This is where you find those aha moments.
But look, a super detailed, deep dive report isn't always what you need, right? Sometimes you just need a quick, high-level view of what's going on. And for that, you need the final piece of the puzzle, the dashboard. And it serves a completely different but really vital purpose. You know, the absolute best way to think about it is like the dashboard in your car. It doesn't show you every single mechanical detail of the engine. It just shows you what's critical right now: your speed, your fuel, and maybe a few warning lights. A Power BI dashboard? It's the exact same idea. It's your business's mission control center. So let's just break down the difference really quick. Reports? They have multiple pages. They're highly interactive, and they're built for deep dives in the desktop app. Dashboards, on the other hand, are just a single page. They're for high-level monitoring, with simpler, less interactive tiles. And you create them in the cloud-based Power BI service, which is where you go to share all your work. And creating one is brilliantly simple. From that detailed report you built, you just find the most important visual. Maybe it's your main sales trend chart, and you literally pin it to your dashboard. You're basically handpicking the absolute highlights to put on a single screen for that perfect at-a-glance view. All right, so we've looked at all the different pieces of the puzzle. Now let's put it all together. Let's trace the complete workflow from that messy raw data all the way to a polished, finished dashboard. It all comes down to this simple four-step journey. First, you create that all-important semantic model in Power BI Desktop. Second, you build your interactive report right on top of it. Third, you publish that report to the online service so you can share it with your team. And fourth, you create that high-level dashboard by pinning your most important visuals. Model, report, publish, dashboard. That's the workflow. So there you have it,
That's the architecture, the blueprint for turning all that noise into real insight. Now you know the how. The only question left is, what hidden story is waiting inside your data? And what are you going to build to tell it?